Alright, so here I'll be showing all the nade lineups for Nuke. Some of them will be the Anglo Delta teams you already know. A lot of them will be new. I'll clarify which ones are new, which ones are not. Let's start off with 3 new lineups. These for an A site execute, so you can have one guy on top of T roof supporting while the guys push after he's thrown his utility. First of all, shoot out skylights and 2 flashes. Flash 1, aim about here. Flash 2, aim round here. Doesn't really matter too much. And those will pretty much blind the entirety of A site if you look at where they land. There's a Molotov for default or backside, or whatever it's called, so line yourself up with this polygon, or vertex, whatever it's called, of the thing. First window, second window, and just before the edge of the second window, aim about here, under that line. And that will Molotov backside pretty nicely. So here's a new lineup to Molotov on top of hut. It's a running throw. So what you have to do is line yourself up on the edge of this circle thingy. Aim in between these 2 lines, but above this line, and start running, and let go of the Molotov when you cross a hit where he shoots about this line. So like this. That covers pretty much the entirety of the top of hut. So here's a new lineup to smoke off main. So assuming garage is clear, there's nobody over there that's going to shoot you. What I have to do is just be around this area, aim about here, in the middle of this thing, just start running and throw. And that will smoke off main. Continuing with the grenades for outside, so here's a new lineup to smoke off deep garage. So all you need to do is line yourself up at the end corner of this blue box. Aim in so that this circle thing is middle of the crosshair, and left click throw. Smoke it off quite nicely, leave no gaps whatsoever. If you want to flash heaven from outside, make sure to sign this area again with this new lineup, and just aim around here and just running through. That'll blind anybody who is playing heaven around this box, for instance. It's a good flash. So here's another new lineup for outside. So if you want to flash off secret for a push, aim here so that your crosshair, well, the center of this heart thing, not your crosshair, and aim where this pole intersects with this railing. If you do it correctly, it should bounce twice. And yeah, if you're in secret, you only see that tip of the flash pop out, and it'll blind you. So here's another new lineup. This is to flash main, just be in this area, and aim around here, and just walking through. And that will blind anybody who's inside main. Like that. If you're also on the T side and you want to flash out garage, there's a new lineup. It's pretty simple. You need to stand behind this box, aim around here or so, and walking through. While standing about around here, where you throw garage smoke, and walking through from here. That will blind anybody who's playing garage. Like that. So here's a smoke to smoke off blue box on city side, on the city part of the map. So nice up around here. This is an old lineup. This is not a new lineup. Anglo Delta players already know about it. So nice up with the corner of this thing. Aim just away from this pole, but aim it so that you see this thing. That is in line with your crosshair. So if I just like that, and smoke it off. This lineup is quite precise. We don't want there to be any gaps, but if you don't mind there being small gaps, for example towards a garage side or whatever, then you can approximate it. So now for the cross smokes. These are old lineups. These lineups should already be known by the team. So first of all, to do cross smoke number 1, make sure you're in line with this line on this wall. Aim quite a bit above the barbed wire. If you want to be precise, make sure across there's a line with this. But but you don't have to be too precise about it. So around here, and you jump throw. Now if I just do that without jump throw, without my crosshair, I mean, just around here, jump throw. Second cross smoke lineup is there's this sort of stain thing in the wall you see here. Aim just above where that meets the edge of the wall, and left click throw. And position yourself at the back in this corner. This first smoke, you position yourself about here, in this corner. And then, of course, if you want to smoke off garage and to teleport across, just by running, just smoke it off, just like that. Now block off vision. If you want a better smoke, let go of the smoke later. But anyhow, if you want to smoke heaven, specifically, well, this part of heaven, what you can do is use this lineup on T side. This is an old lineup, I've showed it to the team before, if you remember it. So, two things. If you're playing high settings, then excellent. You all need to just make sure this heart thing is in the middle between these two bars. If not, then playing those settings, just make sure you're aiming just a bit from the edge of this wall. Or maybe in the middle, between this wall and the edge of this ladder. And 428 tick, what you need to do is aim on this along this rim, but just before it connects with that thing. And if I land correctly, jump throw. And it lands right there. Beautifully smoke off heaven. Now coming over to the lobby side of things, here's a new lineup to flash out hut. So while you're running, aim at about normal head level. So head level if you were, or somebody trying to shoot somebody in the face who was also standing in lobby, not head level for this place. So aim about this height, and running through. And that will pop out here. It will blind people who are on top of huts. Watch from heaven. Ooh. From heaven. If they're around here, etc. If you want to push ramp, there are two flashes. These are both new lineups. So lineup number one, so get stuck in this corner between the chairs. Aim where this reflection, well, this thing through the glass meets with the wall, and running through. So run for a bit. If done right, it will blind those who are back, who are holding out from here and from here. So that'll be good for if you want to push an AWPer. Lineup number two is for hell. So you aim just so where these two lines meet, but just a bit to the left, and running through. And that'll blind anybody playing hell. You will still need to clear. Oh, you will still need to clear anybody who's playing this headshot angle though, or anybody who's playing behind this box. If you're playing squeaky on A side, and you've got the door open, make sure nobody's on top of hut. There's a new lineup to Molotov out second vents just while you're running. Just aim out here and Molotov second vents. Quite nicely. If you don't get it quite right, the guy in second vent will be forced out a bit more slowly since the Molotov needs time to spread to behind the vent. But if you want it to be fast, all you need to do is just aim a bit more to the right. There you go. Continuing with the A execute smokes, if you have a second on top of your roof from one of the guys who are flashing, or from top of those thingies, he can smoke off main by doing this. So make sure your crosshair is aligned with this corner. So if you have got crosshair like this, you do that. Just aim a tiny bit out from the edge of this thing. If you aim a bit too far out, the smoke will not work, so you have to be precise. So be in line with that, and you can, a good way of doing it is to make sure your crosshair is in line with this corner. This corner right here. So if I line it up properly, then run backwards, left click throw. This should be an old lineup, and subscribe players already know this. And that smokes off main just like that. So moving on to the C side of things, if you want to support your AWPer playing garage, if there are many terrorists outside, you can use this new lineup to Molotov behind red. To be standing around here, it's a running lineup. aim around here, and then up to this top electrical wire, and running through. One top behind red quite nicely. If you're CT trying to retake bombs at B and you're afraid somebody's holding a secret from this platoon, let's say, you could just new flashbang lineup to pop flash them. So if you stand over here, aim around here, and left click throw. That flash will only bounce once, and pop just here, blinding anybody who's holding the angle. Likewise, here's another new flashbang lineup if you want to retake B. So from vents here, if you want to pop flash into vents and avoid somebody's holding the vents, you can basically line yourself out in front of vents essentially. Just make sure you're somewhere in front of vents. Yeah, like that. And aim just below this line and right click throw. Done correctly, that'll only bounce once and will basically pop flash anybody who's holding vent. If you are CT and you want to retake A, you can throw these flashes to support your teammates who are in heaven. So if you're in hell and your support teammates in heaven, just line yourself up so your crosshairs around this corner rectangle. Doesn't have to be exact, so just around here somewhere. And aim at this corner here. That will blind anybody who is playing either from second vent, top of hut, anybody's watching heaven for instance. There's another flash for heaven, so if you line yourself up in this corner here, there's a new lineup as well. In this corner, make sure not in this corner, but in this corner. And aim where this intersects with this, so those two edges intersect. And left click throw. That'll blind anybody who's holding maybe heaven from huts, or maybe it's just, yeah, on top of that. If you want to support your teammates who's playing in garage for example, and you hear somebody on silo, there's a new lineup you use to flash the guy who was on silo. So make sure you shoot out these skylights, and you're standing here in the corner, and aim in between these two things, but still on the curvature of the light. And that'll blind anybody who's playing silo. Then that'll help you AWPer. If you want to support the guy who's AWPing garage and you think somebody might be silo, you can flash out silo like this, if you're around here. Just be at the back of this box somewhere around here, and aim around this railing but a bit higher up and flash. And that flash will pop rather high up and flash anybody who's maybe holding your teammate from silo. It's a new lineup. If you're playing CT and want to push outside some teammates, we can do a smoke flash combo that I've shown to Team 4, you should know about it. So you aim about this face of the box, and while running, throw a smoke, then throw a flash over. And that should blind anybody coming out outside, and that smoke should be able to play around it. If you're playing ramp, these nades should be commonly known, but I don't think they've been shown to the Team 4, so I'll classify them as new. So you can use any sort of grenade, Molotov, HE, smoke, whatever, flash, and while you're running, aim at this wall and just throw it. If using a flash, it's better if you throw it earlier, so the flash can travel further. And blind anybody who's holding this angle, for instance. So to reiterate, if you're throwing a flash, throw it a bit later, it can travel further, and it can be so that it can blind anybody who's holding this angle, for instance.